going on, everybody? Real quick, gonna be doing a test of the Metaspeed ASICS Metaspeed Edge to my Nike Alphaflys, and this is just to see which race shoe I'm gonna be racing in for Ironman Chattanooga. And I've always wanted to do that, so my test here, how to do it, it's not perfect, so this is not gonna be like a lab test, but I'm gonna do 2 5-mile efforts, and they're gonna be done at a heart rate. So my Ironman heart rate, which is like around like 155 to 160, and I'm just gonna see the paces that I ran during that, and to see which one that I use. And my biggest thing with, I typically race in the Nike Alphafly, but typically toward the end of like half marathons that I do with them, I do get some calf tightness. And with the ASICS, I mean, obviously the feel is very much different between the two. And with the ASICS, it feels very much more like a trainer, and my calf gets no issues whatsoever. And I've done some long runs in the ASICS, and I love, but they don't feel as fast. But I have no real understanding of which one is faster. So I'm gonna do a little test and take along with it and show you the results. Okay, just got back from the warm up. It's actually pretty humid. I don't know. I would say it's probably 80 degrees and humid, just like I said, but 2 miles warm up in and ready to do the first 5-mile loop, and got the ASICS on just because I know they're going to feel good, and I'm doing the Nike second just because I want to see how it feels in my calf later into the run. But again, the goal is 5 miles, keeping the heart rate like right around 155 160, which is probably where I'm going to try to keep my heart rate for much of the Ironman if I can. So test number 1 in the ASICS. Let's do it. All right, first test done. The loop was actually 4.57 miles, so not 5 miles, and a little warmer. Well, it's humid, you can just tell I'm sweating. My wife before this said, I said it was 80, but it was 75. Feels like 105, but either way, so the average pace for the first one in the ASICS was 720 pace with an average heart rate of 165 or 159. And it's interesting is the route I did was hilly with some tailwind, some headwind, and it's like a good reminder of how the heart rate responds with uphills, with tailwinds, with headwinds. So I was trying my best to adjust, like keeping my heart rate as steady as I can and not trying to go off of pace. And so I was a little surprised with how slow that was, but like the stride felt okay. Didn't feel awesome, but we'll see how the Nike Alphaflys feel on this one. All right, done. 3:07 in the afternoon. It is hot. Just finished another one, and which is interesting. So from the first loop to the second loop, I don't know why the distance is different. I ran the same loop, even though one was like a little longer, but again, same exact loop, so I'm not going to really account to that. So I'm just looking at the overall pace. The overall time, which the Nikes were actually 10 seconds slower, 9 seconds slower over the loop. So again, you got to consider that I ran that 30 minutes later, 35 minutes later, and it was, I'm a little hotter, and it did feel harder. Like it definitely felt harder. So glycogen a little lower at that time as well, but from the be the same at the same heart rate, 159 heart rate for the same, it's kind of interesting. Basically the same pace for that. Both shoes actually have the same level of wear in them, so they're not like one has more wear and one doesn't have more wear. They basically have the same. The Nikes felt softer, they felt squishier, a totally different feel than the ASICS. The ASICS felt a little harder, like a little bit more firm. I'm not sure which one I liked better. I do feel my right Achilles a little bit now, my right Achilles, which is common when I wear these Nikes, so that makes me a little bit concerned with wearing like the Nike Alphas. This is for some reason, I don't know, the Nikes just seem to light up my right Achilles, and I don't run in these Alphaflys really often outside of races. I just typically wear my Nike Pegasus, and So I'm kind of leaning a little bit more toward the ASICS Metaspeed Edge, just because they felt a little firmer, but they don't really let up my Achilles, and I have to run a marathon, so I have to look a little bit more toward comfort and consistency over necessarily full speed. So I think my gut right now tells me that I'm likely just going to wear, not just, but I'm going to wear the ASICS. And yeah, pretty good. I mean, the interesting thing, again, like I mentioned in this, is, I'm running it and you can see the temperature, the dew point is like 60, temperature's high. Humidity isn't crazy high, but it feels really humid.
Yeah,
and it's just...
I was calling for you when I saw you running.
Oh, I guess my daughter was calling for me. But either way, it's interesting, again, is that when you hit a tailwind of how quickly my heart rate elevates, and then when I hit a headwind, how quickly my heart rate does go down. And the same thing with hills. So, when I'm doing Chattanooga, you just have to remember that and stick to the heart rate and not let that heart rate go too high, not let it come back down. So I'm really looking forward to Chattanooga. I've done a lot of good heat work in the heat and humidity with rolling hills, and just I'm looking forward to it. So I think it's ASICS for the win.